thank you is my first comment to each and every one of you in this room tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I said this last year, I remember, it's Thursday night. There's a lot of things you could be doing on a Thursday night. But honestly, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, would you remember this Thursday night, the 27th of February, 2025, if you weren't here? Maybe. Depends on how good your evenings go, right? But you'll remember tonight, I assure you of that. And I'm going to echo what Al said and really just press that home again. 16 million men and women in uniform fighting, serving all over the world in World War II. Less than 1%. The estimates are about 65, maybe 66,000 veterans remain with us tonight. And so that's why tonight is a special, special night. And we're so thrilled that all of you have come to join us and to hear the amazing stories that you're going to hear. Last year, 2024, was the 80th anniversary of D-Day, the invasion of Europe, June 6, 1944. This year, 2025, is the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, when both Germany and Japan surrendered. As a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, had the chance to be at a local high school, and they brought all the junior class into the high school auditorium, and they invited other students, and there was about 300 kids there, and we had 3 of our veterans there that are with us tonight, were there. And when I talked to the students, I said, hey, show of hands, how many of you are 17? And pretty much everybody raised their hand. I said, you guys are good with math, right? 50 years from now, how old will you be? 67. I said, chances are, when you're 67 years old, you're going to have grandkids. You have the opportunity today to tell your grandkids that you shook the hand of men and women who fought in World War II. And why is that significant? Because 50 years from 2025, the end of World War II will be 130 years in the past. And I told them that's why today is a special day. And I'm telling you, I don't know that I saw a kid leave the auditorium afterwards. They waited, they filed across the stage, and they did something that I think they'll remember. And if you got a chance to meet our veterans tonight, I hope that memory lingers with you as well. So tonight is a special night. We have a couple of youngsters with us at 99 years of age. That's right, that's the young crowd. You recognize them when they come out, I think, you can tell. We have 2 that are 100, and 1 that is 101. And we have a distinguished gentleman who was not able to be with us tonight, Bill Casaza. He was with us last year. We're going to put his picture up on the screen here. That's Bill, kind of a before and after right there. And Bill had a medical procedure today. It couldn't get out of. We certainly understood that. But because our theme tonight is 80 years, D-Day through the eyes of the greatest generation, there's a very interesting tie-in with Bill and D-Day. First, I just do want to mention that Bill fought his way through the Germany campaign in a tank destroyer. It's a very, well, it's not a very well-known vehicle. And a tank destroyer was not enclosed. It was an open turret. If an enemy got close enough, they could throw a grenade in. And so that's what the vehicle was like. It was designed only for World War II, never existed after, to try to combat the German armor that was so powerful over there. And that's what Bill did in World War II. Well, last year, with the Best Defense Foundation out of California, which is run by Donnie Edwards, I don't know if there's any Chiefs fans here tonight, but he's a former linebacker with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's his organization. They took 50 World War II veterans to Normandy, June 6, 2024, to honor the 80th, from 1944, 80th anniversary of D-Day. Among those 50 veterans, they selected 11 veterans to receive France's highest military and civilian award, the French Legion of Honor. And Bill was one of those veterans that was selected. And so I told Bill, when I talked to him a couple days ago at his house, I said, I'm gonna tell him about your story. We're gonna honor you, Bill. I want you to know you're gonna be represented tonight. And so I've got a short little clip that I'd like to show you. I think you've seen it maybe a couple times already. We're going to roll it again. Hey, when you've got gold material, it never gets old, right? So let's show that again.
Monsieur Bill Cassas, au nom de la République française, nous vous faisons chevalier de la Légion d'honneur.
So I think it'd be wonderful if we get a round of applause for Bill Cassas. Thank you for welcoming Bill, at least in spirit. And now I have the great honor to introduce our distinguished guests. And we're going to do that with a series of short clips out of their Patriot Features. If you are interested, you can visit patriotfeatures.org, and you'll be able to see all of their documentaries on there. They're short documentaries, about 12 minutes long. But we have some clips that we'd like to show you tonight. We're going to do it all in a row, and so if you will for me, when one ends, we'll start another one. Just hold your applause till the end, and then we'll bring our veterans out. But please direct your attention to the screen again.
I said, what in the world were they thinking of? I mean, they're just that little island, we'll clean them up in 2 months. And that didn't happen. It went on for a few years. You either got drafted or you joined some kind of organization. And I chose to be a naval aviator. I enlisted in 42. They could not take us right away. They had such a backlog of guys wanting to be Navy pilots. 7 days after Pearl Harbor, they realized they were going to have to get men and material out to these islands, and it was too slow by ship. So they organized the Naval Air Transport Squadron, and we transported men and materials, and then coming back, things had to come back sometimes. Men had to come back. Wounded had to come back. I went in right away to the old designation was DC-4. It was the R5D for the Navy. And that was the plane I flew all over the Pacific. The lives we would have lost if we would have invaded Japan, like when I was a high schooler and thought we'd wipe them out in a couple of weeks, they were fierce fighters. One flight I had from Guam to Kwajalein with these litter cases, and these guys were so badly shot up. The volcanic ash was still all over their face and hands. They didn't even clean them up. They just got them on a plane and let's go. It was a part of the necessary part of the war, and I just felt like I'm contributing now. It gave me a great privilege to represent my country.
I grew up in a depression. You had to make do with what you got. Sometimes you didn't get very much. March 3rd, 1943, I enlisted, went to Great Lakes for basic, went from Great Lakes to Boston to pick up my ship, the USS Macomb, and we was going into Italy, and we spotted this submarine, picked it up on sonar. We chased it using K-guns all along. We set depth charges that shoot off the side like that. We brought that submarine up. The guy come up on the top where the folks, with a white flag. And you know, if that had been the opposite, if that had been the Germans, they'd just blown us away. And the submarine we chased was U-boat 616. We sank it with gunfire. And we left January 45 from Charleston, South Carolina. The destroyer minesweeper, DMS 23. And the orders were to go to Okinawa, and we fighting suicide planes, enemy planes, the kamikazes with it. And that's when the plane hit it. And the whole crew was eliminated, killed them all. I'm proud of watching the Japanese surrender. This is a highlight of my career, but I'm also proud of capturing the German submarine also. Anybody aboard ship gets credit for whatever happens. You're all one, you're one little cog in the big wheel of war.
I was born in July 21st, 1925 in Norwich, England, and we used to listen to the news on the wireless or radio. It would either be Chamberlain
War is a beautiful thing.
or later on it was Winston Churchill.
We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields.
And we used to listen to Hitler, and I remember him being on there yelling and screaming. When I was 14, the first German bombers came over to Norwich, and I had just left my sister's house, and I had to ride my bicycle past the barracks, and all of a sudden it came down, and I heard some oh my goodness, they shooting at me. So I got off my bicycle and I ran in the woods. You can join the army when you're 19, but you have to have your parents' permission at 17 and a half. I joined it in February 1942, and they asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I would like to be in the Signal Corps, you know, writing all these messages down and sending them on to other people, and then I thought, oh, that would be great. I knew something was happening because of the messages I was taking, you know, before I went to Norwich. We heard a lot of these planes, and so we dashed outside and we looked at all these planes going over to Europe. Cal said to me, the war has started. He knew about it. And that was June 6th. And I had to join the army or do something for my king and country.
In 1944, in April, I was drafted and sent to Fort Hood, Texas. And at the end of the training, several fellows said, we're going to go over to Fort Benning and get in the parachuters. They said, they got fancy uniforms and the girls like them. So it was good to me. They transported me into Camp Montmelon, where the 101st was resting right after the Battle of the Bulge. So then the next day, they gave me a machine gun, told me that I was a new guy, and I was going to get the machine gun. There's no one else wanted to do that. The following morning, they called me down to headquarters and said, "We're going to put you in the band." They said, "We need a tenor sax player in the regimental band." Went into Hitler's office in the Reichshaskell. There had been thousands of people there before me, and there was nothing there left to liberate. So I went out in the hall, and it looked like a hope chest. I raised the lid, and it was half full of Hitler's stationery, which I promptly liberated and sent home. We got in the victory parade down Fifth Avenue, and the 82nd Airborne, which I was put into then, led the parade for 5 hours. We went down Fifth Avenue.
Their first salute they throw to their comrades who will stand on the curb, whose red blood and purple heart.
Sort of about 1 week. I was there 2 years total. 1 year overseas and 1 year in the United States. And I was discharged in early 1946.
I graduated from high school in 1943. My twin brother had quit high school and had gone out to California. We eventually got drafted. He was drafted a little bit before I was, and ended up in training as a tank driver. I ended up in basic training in Camp Roberts, California. And then on the 17th of September, we jumped in Holland, and that was called Market Garden. We surprised a lot of Germans because there were some that were working in mechanical places, and when we walked in and hollered at them, they were surprised, and to get their attention, we picked up a wrench and threw a wrench at them, and they looked up and they were totally surprised that Americans were there. On one occasion, we had some Germans trapped, and they were coming out of a basement type house, and we shot them, and the next one that I shot turned out to be a civilian who the Germans had pushed out of the door of this place, and I thought it was another German. And I often thought, and still do, I wonder if he had a family and where his kids went or something like that. So that was difficult for me, but life goes on. We were proud to be in America.